Bonjour. Good morning. Just need to set a few things up because for some reason I can't see your comments in here. We've got a lot of questions today and some that I don't know anything about, which I will explain. The thing is, if I don't know something, I will just tell you that I don't know. It's just much easier. Because the thing is, because I don't know something, it doesn't necessarily mean that other people in the group don't know about these things or other trainers, and they are more than welcome to jump in and give their viewpoints because I don't know what they are. So let's look at these questions. We've got some quite difficult questions today, which is quite fun. So hello to everybody who's watching. Okay. I'm just going to do one extra thing. Sorry, I can't do all this setup until we're actually live, which isn't great, but it's just the way that Facebook works, unfortunately. Okay, we're about ready to go now. Okay. Hey, Matthew Kendall. It's very formal. I'm a bit confused. In the training, we learned to use the simple pattern to work on memories and the kinesthetic pattern to work on emotions and feelings. Okay. To the imprints. So do we not use the simple pattern for memories now? Because on my intake form, we ask if there are any negative memories, so you can clarify, but if we can continue to use the simple pattern for these memories. Okay, so this is exactly why I've sort of updated the manual and stuff. People were getting a bit confused. I no longer use the term simple and complex or integrative. Basically, I use two things, the intro pattern and the kinesthetic pattern, just to try and clear these things up. So the intro pattern is something which I use right at the very beginning of a session, sometimes on a consultation, and that is for a single standout memory. Does this pattern work on other negative memories? Absolutely. But what I have found is that people have become a little bit over-reliant on this simple or intro pattern. And what I want to move people into is to using the integrative pattern more and getting to it faster. That's all. So what you're doing now is correct and will work. However, what will give a better result is if you do an intro, you do a memory with an intro, and then you say, do you have another memory which stands out for you? Okay, close your eyes and get the submodalities if you want, subjective, objective, and out of 10, how strong is the emotion? 8 out of 10. And how familiar is this way of feeling? And when's the first time you can remember feeling this way now? So by actually taking the emotion, and again, we've got here, again, another little thing I want to just kind of clear up. She said, or he said, the kinesthetic pattern on emotions and feelings. Emotions, feelings, and states are all the same thing in my version of IEMT. Okay, so there's no difference between an emotion and a feeling, because if not, it just makes things really complicated. So, so you will get a better result instead of, it's like having a flower. Oh, it's nearly dead. Right, if you have a flower, like I've got up there, you have different flower heads. We have different flowers on a plant. Right, it's a plant, isn't it? Now, using the simple pattern or the intro pattern is like cutting the heads off. The integrative pattern is going down into the root. So therefore, you are going to get a better result by actually going down into the root. And I tend to do this, oh, hello, sooner rather than later. So again, what you're doing will still work, but I suggest getting to the integrative pattern a bit faster. Hey, Steve. I feel unconfident only having IEMT training. What other training should I do on before working with clients? I hear this a lot. I don't think I can just do the IEMT training and work with people. I feel like a charlatan. Should I do NLP training? Da, 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 da. Right. So what this is an excuse and an avoidance strategy. I've had dozens of people without any prior training who've come to do the IEMT work, the training, have done their case studies, worked with clients, and now actually make a living out of it or use it as like a side thing to supplement, another income. My issue is if you get into NLP, okay, NLP has multiple levels and multiple trainers, and you'll be just a trainee junkie. You'll be going to loads of different trainings. Every training you'll go to, you'll hear about another training and another training. Then you'll get into tapping, then writing therapy, then Reiki and all. And what you'll be doing is not working with clients and not doing your case studies. So I have the same answer to everybody about this. You feel like a charlatan at the moment because you've not done your case studies and you've not done your practice. That's why. Your clients do not care what trainings you have and how many letters you have after your name. The only people who care about that are other therapists, really. As long as you're insured, that's the main thing. As long as you're certified and insured, you're legally solid. In the UK, I don't know about the rest of the world. So my answer is stop making excuses and do the case studies. If you've run out of time to do the case studies, you need to come back and do your training again and then do your case studies again and just focus on one thing. We get like this shiny object syndrome, so we keep chasing the new thing. It's like with people doing marketing, especially with like social media or AI or whatever. People just keep doing lots of different things. It's like people who get loads of books and just read the first few chapters. Stick to it. Stick to the IEMT. I'm here to help you, but you've actually got to get on with it and do it, is my opinion. Has anyone used IEMT for I'm having some problems pronouncing some of these words. Mysophobia, fear of germs. Matt, would this be similar to the spider phobia that you demonstrated, or a bit more complicated than a phobia like spiders, wasps, etc.? So fear of germs tends to be an OCD related thing. Germophobes. Not always, just can be. Okay. Now the thing is, with a wasp phobia, it tends to be quite defined because it's about a wasp. A germ phobia, it can be on anything, can't it? So the thing is, two people with germ phobias might have completely different experiences of life, different symptoms, different issues. So I don't know is the question. So again, when somebody comes to me with a label, the first thing I want to investigate is what's the problem, what's wrong, what's the issue, and that's where I would start. What's the problem? I have this thing, okay. Well, being afraid of germs is surely a good thing. It'll keep you healthy, won't it? Well, well, what's the problem? What's the issue? And that's where I would start to unpack this, because again, I don't know the symptoms or the history of this client or the problems they're experiencing. And what do they actually want to achieve as well? This is what I always look for. What do they want to achieve? So if I'm working with somebody with a wasp phobia, what's the problem? Well, every time they see a wasp, they go into a panic state, they become very phobic, they're worried all the time. Da, da, da. What do they want? They want to be able to sit out in the garden with their family and have dinner. Okay. So with the germ phobia, break it down like that. And that's how I would begin to work on that. I got a lady who feels she needs to be in control of everything. She can't recall a point where she started to feel this way or felt this feeling, as it's not familiar to her. When I work with her more on the identity questions as being in control, what does it make you feel? Don't ask that. Believe What's it? Oh, okay. What does it make you feel, believe, and by not being in control, what does it allow you to feel, believe, etc.? I bel I struggle a bit when it's a feeling is not familiar to the person. or they can't recall somebody else feeling this way. For example, if someone comes to me with the fear of flying, as they thought about it, the fear went for 10. When asking how familiar this 10 is, they say no. So you ask if the... Okay, so it's just not written particularly well. Well, let's start at the beginning. A lady's come to me who needs to be in control of everything. Okay? So this needing to be in control of everything is not necessarily a negative feeling. It's the negative feeling as if what happens if she isn't in control. Usually it's some kind of protective thing. Okay, some kind of protective thing. And so she feels like she needs to be in control of everything. Well, when's the first time she can remember being this way? Is when I would ask that. So when's the first time she can remember being this way? So I'd take the feelings out of it already. But also, yeah, obviously I'd explore, if you weren't in control, what would that be like? And it'd be like, it'd be chaotic, and I would die. Yeah, it usually kind of goes like that. I struggle a bit when the feeling is not familiar to the person or they can't recall somebody else feeling this way. Okay, so what I have found is that the more direct you ask the person, the more direct they'll give you an answer. So if you say, so this feeling, is this feeling, how familiar is this feeling? Oh, it's familiar. And when is the first time you can remember feeling this way? And leave it. And just let them access the imprint. When is the first time you can remember feeling this way? And if they're not sure, well, when is the first time you can remember somebody else feeling this way? And be direct, be assertive with it. Don't be like, so, have you noticed that someone else can feel this? Don't put any more language in than necessary. That's the first problem. Basically, not allowing the client to experience and sort of regress like they need to be able to, because people keep talking to them when they should just be thinking and feeling the thing. And if you go to them, okay, so this feeling, how familiar is this feeling? If they say not familiar, well, so you're experiencing it for the first time now? No. So you have felt it before? Yes. Well, so when is the first time you can remember feeling this way now? And, oh, okay, for example, if someone comes with a fear of flying and they thought it was 10, when asking if it's familiar, this 10, and they say no, uh, it's I just don't think you're going to come up against this. And if you do, the client just might not be suited for IEMT. When you're doing IEMT, you're doing it as a corporation. You're doing it between two people. If the client is unable to go back to imprints and identify emotions and stuff like that, IEMT might not be the best path for them. Just saying. For the feeling of isolation, would you just use the kinesthetic pattern? Oh, yes, I would. Well, it depends. It depends on what the problem is. Is it a feeling of isolation or is she isolated? Now, being isolated can be a physical thing. If she's at home or he's at home refusing to go out, that's a different thing. So I don't know enough about the case to actually say where I'd take it. But if it's a feeling of isolation, then yeah, someone says, I don't know what to do with this feeling of this. If it's a feeling, you use the kinesthetic pattern. It's pretty straightforward. If it's an I am, if it's an identity, I am isolating myself. There's some identity work that we can do there. But what I would also look at, this feeling of isolation, okay, may also be a protective thing. Why is she isolating or why are they isolating themselves? What is it that they fear? And then when you work out what is it they're fearing as well, you can then obviously do more kinesthetic work around that. And probably some identity like an I, me, self, you from within this problem of isolation. Okay, this is quite a long one. Question for today's session. How is it to successfully work with a client who can't break down their anxiety or figure out which emotions are the issue? I'm finding working with a lady a challenge is in that she can't pin down what to explore. She started getting really anxious about everyday activities, doing practical things, working on the computer and going traveling. She also has issues with her stomach in that she has an injury, but on top of that, there's also psychosomatic symptoms. So she doesn't have any particular negative emotions. I've tried to dig and we've looked at sadness. After the first imprint in the kinesthetic pattern, she couldn't give me a second imprint at the new score level. I wasn't sure what to do, so we went to a different emotion, fear, and the same thing happened. But with the prompting, she same up, I think it became, up with another fear memory at a higher level than at the first. I'm not sure how to break this down. Well, okay, I think what you're doing, you might be doing here with another fear memory. Okay, so, but at a higher level than the first. I'm not sure how to break this down. Now, when you're doing the kinesthetic work, sometimes the level comes up, but let me assure you something. Let me listen to this. You do not rate the memories. You do not rate the imprints. And I fear that's what's happening here. And that's going to get you and the client confused to start off with. Okay. So do not rate the imprints. You are not rating the memories. You are rating the emotion, and that is it. Look at the exact language I give you and stick to it. That's the best thing to do. So, how strong is this feeling? How familiar? And when is the first time you can remember feeling this way now? Okay. When I showed her the three pillar models and suggest that she was feeling fear in the right column, well, fear is not in the right column, is it? And maybe remorse on the left, she said she couldn't pin down the emotions as they were mixed up. Adding to my question above, I think the issue maybe a man is so strong here that our session was quite confusing for both us and clearly not easy for me to navigate through. She kept apologizing for not being clear or giving the right answers. I would start there. You know, this feeling of sorry for being apologizing. How strong is this feeling? How familiar? That's where I would start if somebody keeps apologizing all the time. I was like, why are you sorry? I don't know. Well, you feel sorry because, yeah, well, that's where I would start. Now, the thing is, she's saying the feelings are all mixed up. Then treat them as one to start off with. I would treat them as one. I still don't know. So she gets anxious about all the time doing practical things, working on the computer and going traveling. Well, going traveling is not an everyday thing, is it? But working on the computer, okay. So working on the computer, close your eyes, working on the computer. How strong is the emotion working on the computer? So at this moment in time, I wouldn't worry about giving the if she's having problems labeling the emotions, don't worry about it then. You'll probably get to some emotions which come out, which you can then specifically label and work on like that. But I wouldn't worry about labeling the emotions as long as she can access these emotions. But also, again, it depends on what. Now, a lot of people with anxiety, it's not a therapeutic case. Okay, it's a lifestyle issue. So again, you'd have to look at, is this client suitable for IEMT? On from reading this, I'd probably say it's 50-50. So that's what I would address first. Is this client suitable for IEMT? And some people just aren't. Some people just need to do some other work. It might be CBT, it might be thought field therapy or tapping or something. I don't know. And if she's got a medical issue, again, it might not be. But what I would do is you have to lead the session and be more positive. When I say positive, I don't mean happy, I mean proactive. And just name the emotion, just say what the just this is the thing and go with it. And the thing is, again, the more trepidation you have and the more uncertainty you have when asking these questions, the worse the answers, the less clear the answers you'll actually get back from the client. I assume that when somebody has a feeling, there is an imprint, at least one imprint for it. And if you go in with that mindset and just say, okay, close your eyes. So this feeling, how strong is this feeling? How familiar? How well do you know it? Oh, I don't. It's not very familiar. But you felt it before. Yes. And when is the first time you can remember feeling this way now? Go in with that and see how that changes your results. Now, this is a hard question for me. And there was lots of answers which I don't know anything about. Any experience working with premenstrual dyphoric, I should presume is disorder, PMDD. I worked on endometriosis. I can't today. And endometriosis. I can't say these words today. It was successful. The client reports a lot of anger around these cycles. I often suspect there's a buildup of levels of anger too. I found this with my own self-awareness when I started early menopause. Once I cleared the memories and feelings over anger, I didn't get any anger around these cycles. This is a new referral I've received this evening. Greatly appreciated. I have got no idea. I don't really know what it is. I don't do women's problems. I've got no idea. Absolutely no idea. Yeah, I've just got no idea. Possibly it'll help. I don't know. If it's hormonal, is that a therapeutic thing? If it's caused by hormones. Um, so a premenstrual dyphoric disorder. Again, I'm not very good at working with labels. I'm very much like, what's the problem and what do you want? And that's where I would start. What's the problem and what do you want? I can't really give any more than that because, again, I don't know. I don't know anything about the situation. I don't know. I'm not medically trained and I keep away from anything medical. This sounds like a medical kind of thing. So I don't know. In the actual group, in the messages on the Facebook group, there's a lot of information from, I know Emma Toms and stuff has done work with this kind of thing. But I'm not in a position to give any kind of sort of advice on this particular condition because I don't know. I have never experienced anything like this. If somebody comes to me with this kind of stuff, I'd be like, well, they'd fill out the form, and if I don't understand their form, I would simply refer on or just say I can't touch this. Any other questions at all? So again, my answer is I don't really know. It depends what symptoms they're having. You might be able to work with them, but I just don't know. I just don't know. Any other questions at all whilst we're here? These get downloaded and uploaded to YouTube now. If you haven't seen, Andy is doing a 2-hour kinesthetic review workshop on Thursday at 1 p.m. for all members of the association. If you are not yet certified in IEMT, I believe, you might want to check with Andy, that you can join as an associate member, so not as a full member, and still watch the thing, the workshop. Again, don't check with Andy on that. Any other questions at all? Oh, hey, Matt. Oh, no, I put that. Oh, have I put the questions twice? Yes, I have. Any other questions, please? Do we need to take ages of the client when we do the IKA? I like to. I like to. And the reason is that if somebody's not going back to early ages, they are usually trying to keep the problem within the context that the problem currently exists. So what I mean by that, if somebody is feeling vulnerable at work, the first time that they can remember feeling this way, they may very well be trying to feel the first time they felt vulnerable at work. I don't want them to go to the first time they can remember feeling vulnerable at work. I want them to go to the first time they can remember feeling this type of vulnerable. So I want them to get into this feeling of vulnerability and go back to the first time they can remember feeling this way. So if I'm a bit unsure And if they just say meeting, like, how old are you in this memory? And if it's a more recent memory, what I will do is I'll say, can you remember feeling this way before this memory? So just close your eyes, just get into this feeling once again, and just go all the way back to the first time you can remember feeling this way. Don't worry about the context, don't worry about work, just this feeling, and just go to the first time you can remember feeling this way, and let me know when you have a memory. So that's why I take the ages. And also, I just find it interesting as well. Because some people, their ages will get older to younger, and some people get younger to older. So you don't have to. It's not going to kind of change anything. I do just because I want it for personal interest, really. Any more questions for me? I have got 4 places left on the next training, which is in 3 weeks' time. Let me just see. The 27th and 28th of September. I will be putting October and November on, and that'll be the last trainings of the year. So I'll be putting those on today, probably, actually. Okay, well, I think we are done then, aren't we? If there's no more questions. So yeah, some quite challenging questions today, which is quite interesting. Sorry, sometimes I'm not able to answer a question because I don't know. And what I don't want you to do, I don't want to give you any kind of false information or something that I don't know about. Again, when it comes to these uh, menopause and I've forgotten that type of issues. I forgot what it's called. Um, like lupus and stuff like that, those kind of conditions. I forgot what they're called. Emma Tom seems to have a lot of experience with these kinds of things, and yeah, I don't. No, what's it called when your body attacks itself? What's it called? Thingy conditions. Autoimmune, isn't it? Of course it is. Before I even get there, autoimmune conditions. I don't know anything about them. I don't know anything about them. Basically, with my personal work, I tend to work with people who've been through really horrible stuff. That's my kind of thing. When somebody's been through something really horrible and they want to get over it. Okay, well, aren't we? I think we're done. Happy dabby dozy. I will speak to you all soon. And it's been beautiful. See you this time next week. Take care, guys. Bye.